Hello, and thank you everyone for joining us. Today, we will be discussing one very specific aspect of the USA Gymnastics Safe Sport Policy, which is access to training. As we continue to move toward a more athlete-centric, safer environment for our athletes and coaches, it's important for us to talk openly about the involvement of the parents. USA Gymnastics passed its current Safe Sport Policy in June of 2019. Access to practice by parents was an important addition to that policy. The USA Gymnastics Safe Sport Department received over 400 reports in 2019, and many of those reports that were both founded and unfounded could have been avoided if there had been witnesses to the event. Misunderstandings between coaches and parents, coaches and athletes and parents are at the crux of many of these reports. Access to training by the parents, regular meetings between parents and coaches, and using age-appropriate teaching techniques could help alleviate many of these reports. Today, we will discuss access to training and the benefits for your club, coaches, and families. We're going to start with introductions. My name is Shelba Waldron, and I am the Director of Education and Training for Safe Sport here at USA Gymnastics. With me is Bobby Franzo and Sam Slater from Spot TV. To facilitate and embrace a movement in our sports culture towards increased club transparency and enhanced parent communication, we have partnered with Spot TV, who will shed a spotlight on modern technology of online streaming. Thank you and welcome, Bobby and Sam. Could you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Shelba, for the brief introduction. My name is Bobby Franzo. I am CEO of Spot TV, and I am joined by Sam Slater, our Customer Experience Director.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us. Super excited.
To give you a brief history, we actually started in childcare over 12 years ago with our affiliate brand, PB&J TV, providing an online streaming program to preschools and daycares nationwide. Our time really invested in the childcare industry has truly prepared us for the perfect segue for Spot TV into club gymnastics and child activity centers.
And since we first launched this in 2018, we attended our first National Congress in 2019. Spot TV has really gained a tremendous support and interest for the sport nationwide.
Yeah, and our mission is simple, but near and dear to our hearts, which is really to propel the sport we all love towards increased club transparency and better parent communication.
So you guys have been around children and parents and club owners and people who run childcare centers for quite some time then, right?
Oh yeah, this is certainly our wheelhouse.
Right. So what we're going to do today, as we move into this PowerPoint and into this webinar, is we're going to use Bobby's and Sam's expertise on how we can just create heightened transparency in our clubs. So we're going to start by going over the policy as it's written. Simply stated, all member clubs must permit parents and guardians access to training sessions. Access may include sitting areas, in-person viewing options, closed-circuit broadcasts, or similar methods of viewing. Each training session must be accessible to at least a portion of the member club's parents and guardians. This includes parents of all aspects of the gym athletes. So what that really means is when we say this includes parents of all aspects of the gym's athletes. In many clubs, in most clubs actually, you have the rec program and you have the team program. Within the team program, you could have a girls program and a boys program. You could have an elite program and you could have a lower level program such as level 2, 3, or 4. Those parents are vastly different and the experience of the athlete is vastly different. So when we talk about including parents of all aspects of the gym's athletes, you will need to have parents who are from the rec program and parents who are specifically from the girls team program or the boys team program. So when these parents are watching, they're watching for specific things. The way a child is trained for the team for a level 8 is very different than how a child is trained for level 3 or level 4. So that's what we mean by includes all parents from all aspects of the gym's athletes. So simply put, all interactions with athletes must be able to be observed and are interrupted by another person. So we understand that some clubs do not have space for all parents to view. We also understand that some clubs have acoustics that create unintended noise levels. You may set parameters for these problems. Those parameters can include allowing only a portion of the parents for a portion amount of the time, or limiting noise by asking parents who want to have discussions to relocate to a specific part of the waiting area. We also realize that many children become distracted when their parents are in attendance. Communicating with the parents about the danger of distraction and using specific examples while having those conversations will go a long way when asking parents to limit their time at practice. Also, it is so imperative that documenting those conversations or times when parents have been cautioned, it is important. So, however, it's important to note that at no time can a parent be locked out or removed from a facility if their child is training without fair notice and warning, and they must be offered an alternative. We have received reports where a parent was legitimately disruptive and asked to leave. The club, however, did not offer a time when the parent could return, or an alternative such as viewing via the web or having another family member attend in their absence. I cannot stress this enough that documentation matters. So when these important conversations are coming up, or you have your preseason meeting and you're talking about viewing opportunities for the parents, document when those meetings are happening and what the conversations were. It's going to just help you in the long run. From a safe sport and legal perspective, there are numerous benefits to having a parent or multiple parents viewing training. So for example, parents become equal stakeholders in the safety of the athlete. They also have the ability when they're there to talk with you after practice about maybe an incident that occurred, why their daughter is upset, why their son is not able to achieve at the highest level because of maybe something that occurred at school or an issue they're having at home. So it allows the coaches and the parents to become one and benefiting the athlete. It also offers higher accountability for everybody and not just the coaching staff, accountability for the athletes. So so when there are disagreements or a discussion on what happened and when, it forces everybody to look at the environment and go and look at it objectively. There's transparency. There is personal and business liability actually goes down. It removes the questions of what happened. It is protection for all the colleagues that are involved, and it just elevates the entire profession.
And I think that's fantastic. From our perspective on this, when we install our video monitoring systems into businesses, specifically child activity centers across the U.S., in regards to accountability, I mean, we immediately see an increase in staff and training performance. We'll get into this a little bit later on in the webinar about the Hawthorne effect and the observer effect, but immediately performance is increased. Therefore, decreasing your business liability and personal liabilities, decreasing incidents throughout the building, and then transparency. One of the biggest reasons for, let's say, mom coming to a owner or manager, what have you, is fear of the unknown. Child does go home and says X, Y, and Z to mom at dinner or what have you, and mom has nothing else to go off of other than what the child maybe understood to have happened or didn't happen at all, and having that increased transparency and a true partnership with parents really will mitigate a lot of those situations that gyms are getting involved with.
And I think Shelba hit it out of the park with the unified front. We're a part of that puzzle that helps not only protect the gym, protect the coach, protect the athlete, but also make everybody on the same team.
Well, when I think about the parents becoming equal stakeholders, there's so many times when we talk about, and I'm just talking in society in general, or we're just talking, we always say it's for the kids. Well, what is best for the kids? The best for the kid would be for the adults in the situation to be working together as one.
Yes,
absolutely.
And if we can't come together and decide what the best way to have a parent involved in the training aspect or to have a coach involved in the life of the child, if we can't figure that out, then we're not doing the best we can for the athlete's well-being.
Absolutely. And we'll touch on this a little later too in the presentation, is complementary learning, which is the reciprocating education of the child, where mom is reinforcing what's going on at gym, and it's a true partnership for the well-being and the growth of the child.
Okay, so the slide that we're looking at is one that we're using quite frequently in the Safe Sport workshops. When we are talking about open and interruptible, we are really talking about line of sight. Line of sight is a simple concept of what you can hear and see at any given moment. It's your awareness zone. And awareness of line of sight allows you to see other coaches, parents, athletes, and the physical environment. It's for you to be able to look at the place you're in and make objective observations and intervene if necessary. Observable and interruptible isn't just about what you can see, but who also can see you. When we consider a report that has come into the Safe Sport department, we are really talking about line of sight. Who saw what and when did they see it? What was the behaviors? How were people acting? So was the coach too close to the athlete? Did the athlete follow instructions before they fell? Was there an immediate reaction when the injury occurred? Was the coach watching the athlete, or were they on their phone? Was the athlete actively bullying the other athlete, or was it really a misunderstanding? Was the gym too loud? Was it too hot? Think questions like that, and having that awareness is crucial. I always say this, and I've said it already in this particular webinar, but documentation is absolutely everything. If something happens, if there is a Safe Sport report that comes in and then months later, so it's being reported in July, but the event occurred in March, that documentation is crucial. And documentation the documentation should be objective in nature. So for example, what time did it occur? Who was involved? Was the parent there? Were they not there? What was the temperature? Let's say an athlete passed out because of heat, or at least that's what they're saying. Let's say it was heat related. It's the middle of summer. What was the temperature in the gym? Was it 95 degrees or was it a balmy 70? So these are that documentation answers those questions after an event has occurred.
Yeah, and I was to parlay your documentation point is with Spot TV. We play perfectly into the documentation of all practices. We're recording video and audio throughout business operations, and what's really tremendous about that is taking those video and audio recordings and clips and using them as training moments. So what was once before either not seen or maybe only seen maybe on very grainy video is now seen on very HD fluid video. And then when audio comes into play, we call it like the third dimension essentially. And what it is while it looked like this, you go back and listen to the audio, and in fact, the coach was not yelling at the child. They were actually laughing at the moment. And when you're able to apply the audio documentation into the video documentation, it's huge. I can't tell you how many times an incident has occurred, and that's been the saving grace. When you're talking about saving a coach's job or the brand or the sport itself, it's tremendous.
And I love this graphic because you hit on it. This line of sight shows this triangle view of maybe 60 to 70 degrees at max of what your coach is looking at, what your manager or owner is looking at when they're watching, or even the parents. Whereas the Spot TV system is giving you, 120 degrees. So we're doubling the view and you're getting everything in a clear-cut vision, as opposed to the human error that goes along with, well, I thought I saw something out of the corner of my eye over here aspect. So we're clearing everything up and everything becomes a very clear picture.
Yeah, I think that's important because I think later on we're going to talk about blind spots, but there is a lot of Safe Sport reports we get where actually blind spots are mentioned in the report, where the parent says that the coach took the child to the side where the parents couldn't see. There was nothing really going on that parents just couldn't see because those are blind spots. But line of sight allows for blind spots because you can't see behind you.
Exactly. And then that plays into the fear of the unknown. If they're not able to see it, their mind creates, worse scenarios than it actually was. And it's just not good for anybody. So the transparency around increasing line of sight is huge.
All right. So I'm going to keep going and then I'm going to turn it over to Bobby and Sam. But the last thing I want to talk about is the trends we see in some of the Safe Sport reports regarding the open practice policy. So the first is the parent viewing areas. We will have complaints that come in regarding blind spots, space and size, and that is your smaller clubs who have rec programs, but they also have the team programs, and there's just not enough space for the parents. And there hasn't been a solution where it allows the parents to view their children. And then there's the viewing distance. Some clubs are massive, and the parents are so far back, they actually can't see what's happening, what to them feels like a mile away. We also have issues coming in about parent viewing schedules. Now, this is allowed, especially when you have smaller gyms. Parent viewing schedules is the concept of, we have one club that does this. This is their solution. Parents on the team whose last names are A through M would go like Monday and Tuesday. And parents who are N through Z can go on Wednesday through Thursday. It still allows parents to be in the gym. And then they can alternate within themselves, that club allows, but they can only have so many parents in the gym at once. There's just not space. So it's what we call parental viewing schedules. However, there's also the parental viewing schedule that is actually out of compliance, when the club will say that the parents can only come one Saturday a month, or they can only come at the beginning, first 15 minutes, or the last 15 minutes. That is actually out of compliance of policy. The policy basically is parents need to have access to the training from the viewing area at all times. Then there's also poor club to parent communication and non-existent documentation. That is oftentimes a coach, in these scenarios, a coach will basically set an arbitrary parent viewing schedule without putting that into some sort of policy or putting it in some sort of documentation that the parent can read and understand the reasoning why behind it. And sometimes that also is different for one, let's say the girls team versus the boys team in a club. So the boys parents can come and watch anytime they want, but the girls parents can't because the coaches on the floor are making the rules. So you don't have the documentation to back that stuff up. Resistance by clubs or coaches when parents raise a concern. We've had this, so parents will raise a concern about wanting to watch their child, or they'll raise a concern about something that they witnessed, and then the parent will be basically asked to not come back. And so that board starts to border on retaliation, which is against the Safe Sport Code. So parents have the right to raise concerns. Now, they don't have the right to yell and scream and create problems that due to unprofessional behavior, but they do have the right to raise a concern. Another one is miscommunication and misunderstanding of medical emergencies. We get this one quite a bit. So an athlete falls, and let's say they hurt their ankle, but they tell the coach that they're fine. So the coach, continues on with practice. Well, as time goes on, the ankle gets swollen, and the parent looks at it maybe the next day and wants to know why they weren't called or why they weren't involved in that. It's really nobody's fault, but it does create problems here in the Safe Sport department when we get these reports trying to figure out who knew what and when, and sometimes when you're dealing with concussions, the concussion doesn't always show up immediately. And the signs of being dizzy or getting the headaches, they don't come till the next day. Having the parents there or having the video to show what actually happened and how it happened is crucial in medical emergencies. And then finally, misunderstanding of a situation due to the athlete's age and maturity level. So I spoke about this earlier, and this is a situation to where a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old interprets a situation differently than what really happened because of just basically their brains aren't developed yet. And so by the time it gets to mom and dad, and it's explained to mom and dad that the coach was yelling at me and they got really close to me and they were pointing at me, but when we look at the video or we hear the explanation from the coaching side of it, that's really not what happened. And so having the parents there or having the video really helps us in that situation. With that being said, I am turning this over to Sam and Bobby so they can actually show you what they do and explain how this all works.
Awesome. And yeah, just to kind of touch base on all those points you had up there, Shelby, it's amazing that a camera and streaming system that we're talking about today benefits all three phases of gym owner and athlete in every one of those line items. So it's just going to be a huge proponent to keep that unified front that we talked about earlier. Live streaming and Spot TV. As we said, we've been doing this for a long time now. This is not something new for us. And just to kind of give you a little bit more background on who we are too, real quickly, is I just want to remind everybody, we're dads. Bob has a daughter. I have two daughters. They're in gymnastics, they're in dance, they're in martial arts. We do all these things. So we get to see these things up close. We've experienced it from both sides as a parent, as working with gym owners. So this is something that we're very familiar with. And it's not a foreign concept to us in any way. And we really just love working with all aspects of a facility to be able to, again, as our mission statement is really just to propel this sport that we love, towards increased club transparency and better parent communication, and just try and make this an awesome experience for everybody and giving everybody the tools to make that happen.
Okay, so we wanted to give you guys an overview of what Spot TV is, how the program functions, and then we'll kind of get into more of the benefits, tying back into a lot of the safe sport policies and concepts that Shelba was discussing a few moments ago. Spot TV, in its essence, is a HD broadcasting system. Now, if you have a camera system at your gym, and it's installed by a local security guy, or you might have done it yourself, we can actually integrate directly into your existing camera system. We are 100% compatible to any system on the market today, and with we can chat about this a little later on, but we do have USAG specials where we're actually doing free integrations for all USAG club members. So if you don't have a camera system, which is a big case right now, I mean, there's so many gyms out there that we're getting calls from that do not have a webcam system in their facility, which live streaming or not, I mean, just from a business perspective, having a camera system in your facility to protect your brand, protect your operations, decreasing risk, and all the number of benefits we chatted about is just tremendous.
And I think Shelbert talked about it too, that some gyms actually have camera systems, but they're antiquated, and there's a child on one side of the room, and then 2 seconds later on the other child in the room, because it's very choppy in movies.
Right.
So
you get
it's also time to upgrade.
The robotic gas station, look, and that's not helpful either. And that's another big point to bring up. We're bringing in systems that are tremendous quality, tremendous streaming capabilities, and why we do that is because bad video or poor video quality leads to misinterpreted video. So when we provide you guys, our streaming program and system, it is going to be the best streaming system on the market, because we don't want any misinterpreted video. It is going to be a live, enjoyable, genuine, sellable experience and marketable experience to mom and dad. So with that, we do turnkey HD systems installs across the U.S. So we are actually based outside of New Orleans, Louisiana, but we are in 46 states, 3 Canadian provinces, and have 1,700 partner integrators across the U.S. Who are authorized Spot TV installers and techs. And once your system's installed, we go through training, and we service the system on an ongoing basis. If a camera ever goes down, we're shipping one next day, and having a tech on site within 24 hours. It's a turnkey white glove experience with Spot TV. With our system comes an enterprise level recording software for your management and training needs. And many gyms record by default 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, but we can do up to 6 months to even a year's worth of data in terms of video and audio recordings. Some of the big program features. So this is what's often misinterpreted with parent viewing and online streaming, is mom's going to be sitting there with a second monitor, sitting on our mobile phone, and just have unlimited, access. Really what we're focused on is getting parents access to their practices. So you're able to set viewing schedules, similar to the same viewing schedules that they should be allowed to come on site for. If it was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 5 and 6 p.m., practice, then that would be the setting in the dashboard for that family. And that's when they would be able to log in to Spot TV. This truly eliminates the limited viewing area issue, the distance issue. Every building and gym is a little unique in their shape and size. With Spot TV, we're completely mitigating those issues from a design standpoint, and then also keeping gyms from having to spend $10,000+ on renovations to increase their viewing area size. The program comes equipped with free iOS and Android apps for both mom and dad, and then also admin have their own specific apps for audio and video recordings. There's login controls and audit history, the online streaming. We'll get into the security of it because I know that's going to be a big question, but we're meeting and exceeding online banking security protocols. And we have both a family and management support center. So you guys have a business to run, and you don't want to be answering a phone call because mom can't log in or grandma's password doesn't work because she left her caps lock on or something like that. Mom and dad, you'll have marketing material for Spot TV at your front desk. They'll be registering online on the Spot TV website, and your management team will be trained to tell them, hey, if you have an issue or you need assistance, contact Spot TV, and our support team here is standing by ready to assist your mom and dad in any and all of their online streaming needs. So you guys can focus on the business, the children, the training, the practices, and let us handle the parent streaming and online communication.
I would think that I'm a parent also of a gymnast, and I would think that this would make every parent who signed their child up for gymnastics feel completely safe at that club.
Oh, it's becoming a big draw on the marketing side. So we're seeing, with the gyms that are starting to sign up with Spot TV, they're using it as a marketing tool. They're actually enrolling parents because of the ability to tune in and watch the practices instead of being limited by another gym for only coming for the last 15 minutes of class, or those kinds of issues. Mom wants to be involved, dad wants to be involved, and while yes, it can be a distraction sometimes, this mitigates that. You can let them go run their errand or go to the ball practice with their son while gym's going on, and they can still tune into the mobile app and stay connected and see how practice is going.
It's like, this excites me as a parent, actually, not just someone who works in safe sport, but I can't tell you how many times I ask my child after practice, he's there at the gym 16 hours a week, and I'm not going to be there 16 hours a week. But I wouldn't mind logging in every so often if I'm out at the grocery store or if I'm still at work, saying, just how are things going? But yeah. I'll ask him in the car going home, like, how was gymnastics? And he's like, it was good. We did back handsprings. It was fun.
Yeah.
What's funny? Anything.
We'll chat about this a little later too. It's so funny when you pick the child up and then you ask them what they did for the day, and they give you little to nothing, and there's while that's frustrating for a parent, it also should be frustrating from an owner standpoint because they've done so much with that child in that hour practice or those hours spent with them, and there's the mom and dad aren't actually maybe seeing the value in the money they're spending at the business. So from a it's the transparency of the online streaming shows the value of all the great things that the gym's doing. Mom doesn't have to necessarily just ask what did they do. They can say, oh, I saw you do the back handspring. I saw you on the balance beam, and then boom, you're sparking conversations that they've never had before with the child, and thus playing right into that. And we'll talk about this in a minute, is the complementary learning, reciprocating learning, and really having a partner parent, and having everyone on the same team.
It's also just an instant relationship builder. So as mom's coming to drop her child off for the first time, and she has no experience with this gym yet other than it was recommended by her friend, or she visited 2 or 3 to figure out pick one, it's just instantly she has a relationship now that they've been allowed to be able to log in and see.
Yeah, and we see too, just based on the viewing data, the first 30, 60, 90 days are the spike of viewing by new moms and dads. And that's really what we call the trust phase with onboarding parents in gymnastics. Once you kind of get past that 30, 60, 90 days, mom tunes in a few times or, weekly, it tapers off. But really that trust period, that first 30, 60, 90 days is huge in terms of building gym enrollment and creating that transparency needed. And, having the ability to log in. Maybe mom's just a little too busy today to log in, but the ability to log in provides mom the peace of mind that she needs anyway. So that's really what our goal is, what our mission is, and what the actual program really focuses on.
All right, so I'm going to move us into let you guys explain the security. I know that security, it was a lot of questions I asked you guys was about security, but I know that the club owners and the coaches, but also the parents will want to know how secure this system actually is.
Yes, and that is a great question, and truly every time we're at a trade show or in a sales call or demo call, I mean, security is probably one of the top 5 questions I'd say, Sam. And what
Absolutely.
we've done over the past. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, and as parents, this is something that's hugely important to us to begin with, as Bob's kind of go through the actual pieces of it. But this was important to us when we built this from the very beginning.
With coming from the childcare industry, we mentioned, we started 12 years ago as PB&J TV, and the expectations coming out of the childcare industry and how far that industry has progressed with this technology. It is pretty much, if you're a quality location, you're pretty much offering parents an online streaming solution in some way, shape, or form. So starting 12 years ago, in the childcare industry, the expectations that we had to meet coming from that industry has been tremendous. We've built this platform on Microsoft.net. We only stream with encrypted SSL encryption that exceeds online banking compliance. So where you guys are depositing your money in Capital One and Chase, and we're meeting and exceeding online banking protocols. Another big question is, okay, well, let's talk about the hack, right? Everyone just defaults to, can you guys be hacked? Well, here's the thing. If the FBI building can be hacked, if, Capital One or Chase can be hacked, I mean, really, it's not necessarily, well, let me put it this way. There's a tremendous focus on hack prevention with any security and software company. That is a big focus of ours. But really what the key is, and what a lot of companies don't see, is the redundancies and the failovers. So if forever one of our cloud streaming servers was to ever be compromised, the redundancies and the immediate failovers that we can redirect to the other 4 cloud servers that we have duplicate Spot TV platforms on is tremendous. If there ever was to be any kind of instance where there was compromise, that we can immediately redirect to an alternate server, and we're back up and running 100%, and the instance or the whatever it might be is now isolated to a server that's shut down, and that can be attended to without even actually affecting the program, nor would the end user really even notice the flip of the switch on our end. So while hack prevention is huge, it's really about the redundancies and failovers behind the initial layer. And then program features. So our apps boast facial recognition technology. We just recently launched Stream Shield. Stream Shield was really cool, and the childcare industry was ecstatic over this, and we're happy to bring this over to club gyms as well. Is essentially, while mom and dad are viewing in the mobile app, one of the concerns was, well, what if they took a screenshot, or if they took a screen recording, and there's other children in the view, and the privacy concerns around that. Well, here's the thing: we wanted to create this as a true extension of your existing open door policy. So while mom and dad are viewing on the mobile app, they're not able to actually screenshot or take a screen recording in their Spot TV app. So the loophole of them coming on site and maybe taking a picture is mitigated on Spot TV, because they cannot do that. They're really just logging in to enjoy the live event or the live practice, and then show up for pickup at that point. And then family familiarity from childcare. So while this may be new to club gymnastics, it has been a thing in the childcare industry for over 20 years now, and many of the families who are coming, especially in the past 3 to 5 years, who are coming from childcare into club gymnastics and dance and cheer, it's kind of already a thing for them. They're well, sensitized to it, and not that it's an expectation yet, but they know of this technology and they've used it in childcare. And so it's really, families are very familiar with online streaming and access. It's really the club gyms owners and managers who it is new for, and who we really would need to get, or really want to get bought in from.
So Bobby just kind of talked about it a little bit here as far as the viewing access goes, and it's really, like you said, an extension of your existing open door policy, but we're now in a virtual state. And what that does is it just opens up, and kind of the sky's the limit for each gym and at each center. And as we know, each gym is completely different than the next. Everything from 500 square feet to 40 and 50,000 square feet for some of these major monster gyms that are out there too. And each one of them has a different corner and has an L-shaped alcove on the right behind the ninja arena. So everybody is completely different, and that's why the system really contours to each location. So not only are we setting up the cameras specifically for that location to give them their unique experience and customized viewing, but we're allowing them to customize that aspect to mom and dad. So you are taking this online portal and giving them access to the 1 or 2 cameras that equal that area of class that's going on for that time period. So
exactly. And just to add into that real quick is the way it's designed is that no parent would have access that wouldn't have access to the on-site viewing area. So the very same people who would be able to log in and tune into Spot TV would be the same people who would be able to walk in and view that class. So the extension of the existing open door policy really plays into the Spot TV message here.
Yes, and we're taking it a step further as well, and mom's only getting access on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 4:30 to 5:30 or 4:30 to 5:45, whatever that time period is for that class. So it's not even accessible except during those times. So we're basically eliminating the need for an on-site viewing schedule and getting them a virtual viewing schedule that they don't have to manage parents coming in and out. No parent feels left out, and nobody's not part of that class that day or that week based on their kid's schedule. And realistically, it's allowing the center to keep those kids focused. Again, our kids are in these things. I've had talks with mine at karate and at gymnastics to stop looking at me. I'm not the one that needs to give them the thumbs up, especially daughters. Just from my experience, they want dad's approval. And as much as I love that, because I'm wrapped around both of my daughter's fingers, so whatever they want, they get 9 times out of 10. I want them to be able to look at their teacher, focus on the instructor, and have the expert, the person that's teaching them, give them the thumbs up and focus. And I think that's the big point here. And then we're just giving mom and dad the vantage points where they can see everything, because again, these areas of the gym, when they're built, they're not built to make sure mom and dad are comfortable and are having viewing wherever they want. They're built to be able to teach and to be able to present and further these kids in the industry, and this is allowing that to just for them not to have to worry about
it. Tying into the parent viewing access, one of the biggest themes we're pushing or bringing into our program is complementary learning. And really, what is complementary learning? I really wanted to define this for everybody. Complementary learning, and this is a mouthful, so hang in there with me. Complementary learning is the reciprocating approach for fostering the social and intellectual development of our youth by integrating early care programs or activity centers with enhanced family involvement. And really what that is it's partner parents with the facility and the gym owners, and it's the reciprocating learning. So it is a embraced culture that families are your number one asset, and it really focuses on the developmental collaboration of the child. And we spoke on this a little bit earlier with Shelba, where when you pick up the child, you always ask them, what did they learn today, or what did they do today, and you're not getting much out of them. But with the online streaming, and where mom's able to see the floor routine, or they see the, really whatever the practice was, and and they're able to spark the conversation of, hey, I saw your back handsprings, or I saw you do the somersaults, whatever it might be. Those conversations are so much more in depth, and they're reinforcing the learning that went on in gym, and it really creates a partnership between mom, the gym, and the coach, and complementing the actual learning that's going on inside the facility.
Coming from the parent side of it, I'll tell you that sometimes the only times I see my child's routines are at meets. And this is not by any means the club's fault. It's my personal schedule, my work schedule, or I'm cooking dinner. Like, there's just reasons I can't be at the gym. And, I'll go to a meet and I'll see the routine for the first time in, let's say, 3 weeks. I'm like, oh my gosh, look what he learned in 3 weeks, or look how much better it got, or look how much worse it got. It doesn't always go up. It sometimes can go down, and having the parent involved in that. And the whole time my son will say, oh, I'm getting better. Well, maybe he's not, and that's okay. But sometimes the parents want to help out with that. Like, how can I help? And I always ask the coach, how can I help at home? And he'll give me, advice, work with him on his stretching, or, make sure that he is practicing pointing his toes, things along those lines. And it could really help for me to be able to just log in and watch. And then there's also, I'll tell you, and a lot of parents have expressed this to me, there are also times when they get really excited. The child did something finally. They finally got it.
Yes.
And so my son worked almost several months on getting his flyaway off of the high bar. And I kept waiting every night. I stopped even asking, I didn't want to upset him.
Yeah.
And then one night he got in the car and he goes, I got the flyaway. And we got really excited, and we went out for ice cream, but I would have done anything to have seen it. So it's just, I think that there's so much that can benefit from these type of systems.
It's amazing. Even on one of the video testimonials on our website, but we hear this time and time again, is the child will start coming home and say, did you see me do the flyaway? Because they know mom's tuning in, or, watching, practice from, the Spot TV mobile app, and that involvement, and the child knowing that, mom's logged in right now. One, I'm going to be on my best behavior, but two, I get to have that conversation in that moment with them that, I did see you do the flyaway, and it was amazing,
Because statistically too, mom and dad nowadays, everybody's working. So if one's there, then the other person might be at work, or if mom can go and dad's at the ballpark or at another gymnastic center or somewhere else, as a gym, you're now creating this experience for your parents that is just unlike anything else they've had before. And to be the proponent of that, you're just creating a relationship for life there at that point in time.
Before we move to the next slide, we have had Safe Sport reports about athlete-to-athlete bullying. And when we reach out to the parents, they'll say, my daughter didn't do it. And when I was working in the school systems in Florida dealing with bullying, we would pull the videos and we go, well, she kind of did.
Yeah.
So it's not, there's so many benefits to being able to do things like this. And, we're actually able to say, well, the behaviors were this. I mean, so I really want to stress this idea that this isn't just about avoiding Safe Sport reports, or helping the liability side of it. I think that's crucial, obviously, but there are so many other benefits to the parents when you actually do have to sometimes say, well, maybe your child was involved. Maybe they did do it.
This is a sneak peek coming soon, and I'll let Sam tee this one off because he's really super excited about it and kind of wanted to give USAG a quick sneak peek to it.
So this is being launched in the next 30 days. If anybody is somewhat unfamiliar with Jackrabbit, I would imagine most people know exactly what I'm talking about. But Jackrabbit is the largest class management software in the gymnastics industry. So they help the gym facilitate everything throughout the day, from check-ins to payments, everything that goes on. We are now integrating with Jackrabbit, and we will be in their parent portal to create a one-stop experience for those parents. So while they're in there, they're checking their account, they're signing up for classes, everything that goes on within Jackrabbit for their gym, they can also then jump over within the same portal, whether it's on their phone or their desktop, and view the camera that they have access to. All the same regulations and everything apply that we went over. It's just now integrated into the same portal for one place for mom and dad to go to do everything. So we are super excited about this. This is kind of a first level integration with them. We've got some other stuff that'll come down the pipeline, but this is what's getting launched really quickly. And we just wanted to kind of give everybody a quick heads up that this will be out there for them.
That's exciting.
We are
very excited.
We are really excited about it, and as are they. Kind of going into a little bit more on the liability and staff performance side of things. This is the Hawthorne effect, or often known as the observer effect. And what that really is observation changes behavior. So once you install Spot TV camera system, you'll immediately begin seeing an increase in productivity and performance from your team. Once the cameras are in there, you as a manager are able to see all your entire gym simultaneously from one screen or from your mobile device, wherever you are, and they feel like they're being watched, whether you're watching or not, or mom's logged in or not. Just the fact that there's a camera now in the room or in the facility or in the area that they are, the fact that there's an opportunity for someone to be watching them, they're immediately going to be on their toes. They're going to be bringing their A game, and they're going to be performing at a higher level, thus decreasing incidence, decreasing your risk exposure, and a number of other benefits. With this capacity, you're increasing your training and management. We discussed this a little bit earlier, but creating teachable moments. And oftentimes we see coaches kind of have it being resistant to cameras because they don't necessarily want to be watched by owners, or they don't really want to be watched by parents maybe, and that's not the right mindset to have, because there's so much positive reinforcement that comes with the camera streaming system. When we talk about teachable moments, I can't tell you how many cut clips that we help our gyms with that are for positive purpose. Hey, I saw you do this, that was amazing. Or mom shows up the next day at drop off and says something to coach like, oh my God, I can't believe you got him to do this. The positive reinforcement that comes out of it is often overlooked because people just immediately go to cameras maybe being scared of them, right? But the positives that come out of it are just tremendous. And then decreasing overall risk exposure because you have more management eyes or more eyes on the floor, and again, increasing everyone's performance.
And the amount of training videos that are made too is amazing to see. Your coach now, he's going to be used as the bar. So, the owner cuts a video on something that she saw that was just an amazing job that he did with this athlete, and she's now using it to teach all of our other coaches how to, handle this situation or work through this specific exercise in an extremely positive way.
Yeah, we're actually helping clubs decrease their staff onboarding, decrease their time of training with staff onboarding. So when you're able to cut and clip videos and have kind of almost like a video library, essentially, for training moments, I mean, you are really increasing the overall onboarding and training experience for your staff, and thus again decreasing your risk exposure and increasing your productivity throughout the gym.
So here's the big question. This is the final one.
I'm sure everybody about 3 slides ago was like, I just want this slide right now so that I know.
So go ahead, Sam. You can lead this one off.
Okay. So just to kind of give everybody a brief overview of what cost is based on 3 different setups that we do standard to cover at gyms. So the first one we kind of talked about earlier, which is our free server integration. So this is something that we are really just shipping out a server on site. We're going to integrate with the cameras that you guys have, and there's really no upfront cost at that point in time. And then we're looking at just a monthly service for the program. And that program, again, is a complete system for helping out parents, helping out staff on site. Everybody has a support system at that point. And that ranges, like it says, anywhere from $99 to around $250. And that's really just based on camera count and gym size. So obviously we don't want somebody paying the same that has 3 cameras and 99 athletes as someone that's got 15 cameras and 500 plus athletes. So we just base it on those. We want to customize it to that gym specifically.
And the monthly program, just to kind of bring it full circle, covers a wide variety of things from software and program updates and management to network management related to the camera system. All the updates to the mobile apps are free. The parent support, the admin support, we get gyms that call us for assistance on locating a recording or needing it clipped and emailed to, another owner, or, just really whatever it might be. I mean, we are hands-on in our team, standing by, and that's, phone, email, live chat. There's actually live chat built into the mobile app. I mean, it's really a robust support experience brought into this. So.
Absolutely. And the one thing I'll say too, is because I get this on a lot of phone calls, is that doesn't change. So as the program evolves and we add on things and do things to it to enhance it, working with the industry, the Jackrabbit integration, that price stays the same. So that's not something that would ever go up on you. The next one would be you'd need cameras. So there's none in the facility, or it's antiquated and they're just not doing you guys any good at that time. An average is somewhere between 5 and 8. So as a 7 camera system, and this covers not only the cameras and the equipment on site, but the wiring needed and the installation, the whole 9 yards. Generally runs around 3,500, maybe a little bit less. Bob mentioned we do have the free server integration for you guys as USAG members. We'll certainly have a USAG promo for here too. For usually we do like a 10% off, so that would be off of that 3,500 as well. And then the monthly program goes up a little bit, and we're looking at somewhere between 150 and 250 again on the size, because now what we're doing is we're generally going to give the gym a sort of a 3-tiered option, not to get too detailed, but each one will give them some general upgrades in each one based on warranty. So we'll do a 12-month warranty, we'll do a lifetime warranty wood service covered as well too. So it can be as much of a white glove experience or as much of a hands-on experience they want, and we'll build it to fit.
And the reason, just to recap, we're using approximate numbers is because a 7-camera system installed in Utah versus a 7-camera system installed in New Jersey is different on the market labor rates for wiring and installation. So it fluctuates a little bit, and what we do is, with our partner integrators across the U.S., we work with local gyms to, find the best suit or best, installer for them at the best price. And it is turnkey, complete installation, but the approximate's only because, market rates for installation are a little different across the U.S.
And then the last one's a bigger system, 15 cameras, and again, all the same as the one before, but we would maybe be somewhere closer to that 7,500. And again, in parentheses, it says we do have some financing options. We certainly work with everybody based on their setup and what their need is. We want to help out and try and customize whatever that payment plan or monthly looks like.
Awesome. So thanks for hanging in there, guys. So this is how you can contact us if you want to know information about policy or about how we can better work with your club regarding policy. You would contact me here at USA Gymnastics, and I'll let Bobby and Sam tell you how to reach them.
Yeah, so for Spot TV, I mean, if you're in the slightest bit interested in learning more and getting a proposal, and really what we like to do is get a discovery or demo call scheduled. So if you can go to our website, www.spottv.pro, and right on the homepage is a discovery call, which is a 5-minute quick Q&A, and then there's a 20-minute live demo option too. So really whatever fits in your schedule, we really just want to encourage you guys to take the next step and give us a call, schedule a call, and see the program for yourself, get the demo, and then obviously get a proposal. And if it's not something you guys can do this month, maybe it's something you guys can look at doing this summer or later this year, once we kind of fine-tune the proposal for you, design the system, and get the budget in place for you and say, okay, well, look, it's going to cost, or the investment's going to be X dollars. So, maybe let's schedule this for May or August. And, we work around gym schedules. So, we're not going to be on site installing during operations. We typically like to do off hours, weekends, whenever it's more open and we're not disturbing operations. But first next step would be is to scheduling discovery or a demo call, whatever fits in your schedule. And you can do that on our website.
Alrighty then. All right. Thank you. And thank you, Bobby and Sam, for being here. And reach out to us if you need more information.